Hi, good afternoon, everybody. It is afternoon. It should be afternoon for everybody, especially folks out there on the West Coast. Maybe you're enjoying your lunch. Welcome to our very brief session over the Young Professionals Leadership Exchange, this webinar, which will be about 30 minutes. We'll all get to meet and greet, and if it's okay with my colleagues, all the lines are actually automatically muted. Russell and Alex, do you think we should unmute the line since it's such a small cohort right now, or do you want to keep it muted?
This is Alex. I'm happy to try unmuting everyone. I would just request that you mute your phone when you're not talking, because we do tend to get a lot of background noise, particularly on WebEx. I don't know what it is about it, but I'm going to try right now. And if we hear a lot of noise, we'll mute you guys again. But for the time being, it's sounding all right. So take it away.
Perfect. Awesome. So I'm just going to go over a very brief overview of basically our agenda today before we go into introduction. So first things first, hi, my name is Elizabeth Zepko, NAC here at TTA in Bethesda. We'll all get a chance to introduce ourselves more properly. We're going to introduce ourselves first. After that, we're going to go over into an overview of our panelists at our Bring Our Passion session here at PNI. We'll talk a little bit more about our LinkedIn group, the webinars that are out in the future, ways to spread the word about the Young Professionals Leadership Exchange at NAC, how to stay connected, how to network one another, and then just kind of go over maybe some Q&A at the end. So at this point, I'm not sure if Russell or Alex, you want to introduce yourself first, and then I'll introduce myself before we kick it off to the next part of the session today.
Sure, I'll go. Hi, everyone. My name is Russell Brown. I'm the CDC Portfolio Manager here within the Clinical Affairs Division, which is also located in Bethesda as well. Alex and Alyssa?
Yeah, this is Alex over in our I Street office. I work in our Grassroots Advocacy Department, focused on engaging special populations, and I'm super excited to be here, and Alyssa's with me.
Hey there, my name is Alyssa Shinta. I'm with the Federal Affairs in the I Street office with Alex. Really excited that we have a good group today, so thanks for joining us.
And hi again, everybody. My name is Liz Zepko. I'm a program associate in the Training and Technical Assistance Department here at NAC. I primarily focus on our regional training, so I might have met maybe some of your colleagues, if not you, out in the field. I focus on finance, operations, and clinical leadership over, again, 2 to 3D trainings all over the U.S. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Alyssa, who's going to go over a brief overview.
Hey, this is Alex, and I'm going to go over a little bit about the track and sort of what we're trying to do with this programming. You know, really this has come from you guys. It's come from several of you guys who are on the call who have, we've chatted about the importance of us really coming together as young professionals working in the health center movement and really the community health movement at large to kind of share some of our similar challenges, our similar goals, our similar concerns, our similar visions for the future. And we think it's really important to support each other as we grow and increase our leadership potential and really get the skills and experience and wisdom from our current health center leaders that we need to be able to have a successful career, but within this mission-driven movement that we all feel really, really passionately about. And actually one of our colleagues here, I think she's on the line, Emily Federhoff, said to me from HRH Care in New York, who has been super helpful with helping us to sort of plan a lot of this stuff, that, you know, we feel like a lot of the current health center leaders that have been in this movement for 20, 30, 40 years, they're all pretty good friends, and so let's all kind of in this generation try to be friends and get close to each other and support each other. And I think together, you know, we can work to grow not only our own careers, but this movement as a whole. So I'm really passionate about this work. You can see our little blurb here about our invitation, why the YP track. We think as health centers continue to grow, we're serving over 25 million patients. It's important that the workforce grows along with it. So not just, those of us at NAC, but you guys at health centers, you guys at state associations, and then all, sorts of people, medical students, other people who are training right now to go in the community health movement who may be considering it. We want to come together so that we can work on our similar shared passion and support each other as we continue to grow. So the track was an idea that, we thought we could go ahead and incorporate into the pre-existing NAC conferences, both by selecting content and sessions at the conferences that we think really speaks to some of the skills that young leaders are really looking for and really need to kind of be a part of this future of healthcare. But also very specific YP content. So we've created some sessions kind of from scratch with the idea in mind to target this group. So we're going to talk a little bit about those items. Before I go into some of the details of the track, the biggest question I get is, who is a young professional? I'm 35, do I count? I'm 40, do I count? I'm not young, but I'm a new CEO, do I count? And I really have erred on the side of, maybe it's my grassroots advocacy job, but I err on the side of, if you are interested in this programming, if this speaks to you, if this seems like the kind of cohort that you can really relate to, then you should join. And I'm not going to give a specific age, I'm not going to give a specific position, because I think, we want this to be more inclusive than exclusive, but we also want people to come together who really share similar concerns about growing in their career and trying to gain some leadership experience. So what I've said to some folks is, if you're currently a CEO or in the C-suite, even if you're pretty new to it, you're probably a little bit past this group. Not to say we're going to kick you out of anything, but you're probably already reached beyond sort of our target group here. We're really looking sort of to folks who are newer to the health center movement and or their career, and that really want to figure out how to take those next steps to become a CEO someday, or become the head of a national organization or a national cooperative agreement someday, who have sort of goals to get there at some point. So all that being said, we're still working on targeting this definition. We've heard a lot of feedback like you shouldn't say young, maybe you should say emerging, and maybe you should call it something completely different and just like rebrand it and start from scratch. So I have some ideas about it. I've talked to some of you guys who have some ideas about it, but I just want to open it up and say, like, we'll leave some time at the end of this call to chat, but particularly at the PNI, as you guys come find us and share your thoughts and ideas with it. We want this to be a collaborative process as we sort of decide what this looks like going down the pike. So in terms of what you can expect for 2 weeks from now, the YP track at the PNI really begins on Friday. For those of you who come for the conference, you're probably going to come on Wednesday, and Alyssa's going to talk about some of the other programming you can attend. But for the stuff we've created specifically for you guys and for us, it really begins Friday morning. That morning we'll have breakfast. So don't tell anyone we're not putting it in the program, but we've gotten the hookup to get some free breakfast for our speed networking event. It's going to be super great. If you guys were at CHI, you saw it's kind of like speed dating. You spend about 5 minutes with just one person, and you just get to know that person, what he or she does, what their challenges are at their health center or their organization. I found that to be a super effective way to get to know people. So if you're ever nervous about networking, or you don't know how to just go up to somebody randomly and start making that connection, this is a good way. It kind of just forces you to do that, and everybody's in the same, like, slightly awkward boat. But it's a good time, and we'll have some good music to listen to in the background. And the next session that day for YPs is developing rewarding relationships outside the health center world. This is going to take place in the exhibit hall, so it's not in a pre-slotted session room. That's because we're going to have some of the exhibitors talk a little bit about how they develop relationships with health centers, sort of sponsorship and corporate partnerships. And then we'll have some of NAC's expertise on this, including my own boss, Amanda Kelly, who gets a lot of corporate sponsorships for NAC, talk about sort of how do you go about that process. and then we'll do a business card swap. So you get to network a little bit again there, and again learn some tips for hopefully developing those rewarding partnerships. That afternoon we have an advocacy session, leveraging online tools for effective advocacy. This is a great, obviously the P&I is very advocacy focused, but it's also a great way for you to sort of understand how you can kind of develop a personal brand online and be really involved in this movement in the digital space. That night we'll have a reception out of the hotel again. It's at this place called Bar Civitas here in DC, and free drinks and appetizers, and that's just pure, get to know each other, have fun. It's usually a pretty good time. And then Saturday morning will be our final session, and I'm going to turn it over to Alyssa, who's going to talk about this one that we've designed particularly for young professionals.
Thanks, Alex. And this is a very exciting session that we put on last year at CHI. We had some great comments and some feedback from that, from not only the attendants but the people that were panelists. And so we have set around an hour and a half for young professionals to meet current health center leaders. The structure of the networking, this P2P session is 30 minutes for a speaker panel, and we'll talk a little bit more about the panelists, and then an hour of really group discussion and touching on professional skills and experiences that these health center leaders think that's necessary to become a leader in the future. Also, you can connect with other health centers that are interested in learning other things like you are, and also to figure out what role the young professionals play in maintaining the unique model of care and the mission of the future for health centers. So just a little bit on the speakers. We have 4 from different states and different health centers or PCAs. Our first one is Lisa Davidson. She's at the Wisconsin Primary Healthcare Association in Wisconsin. I said that twice, but she's in Wisconsin. She's been in the health center world for, I'm not sure for how long, but I think around like 5 or 7 years. But Lisa's awesome, very enthusiastic. She comes from an interesting state, specifically with policy when it's pretty red, and also working with that. So let's see, our second panelist, we have Paloma Izquierdo Hernandez. She's from Urban Health Plan in New York. We reached out to her recently, and she's very, very excited to meet young professionals. She has an interesting history, or her health center has an interesting history coming out from her father was the founder and creator of Urban Health Plan, and now she's expanded it and is a well-known community health center throughout the U.S. So, and she's also on the NAC Board of Directors. So next one, thank you, Alex. The next speaker we have is Aveen Sati Tafoya. She's from Adelante Healthcare in Arizona. Again, we recently had a call with all the panelists, and they're very excited to meet young professionals during P&I. She's currently serves at the Arizona Alliance of Community Health Centers, so the PCA in Arizona. And then we also have Bruce Gray, who I think is on this webinar. So hi, Bruce. He is the CEO of Northwest Regional the Primary Care Association. So he works with a number of states on health center issues, and it's great because he has some federal and local experience. So we're really excited to have these four speakers with us for P&I on that Saturday early in the morning. And just a couple of other important sessions that we think that you all should attend, or if you have time to attend. Wednesday we have our Be Ready for the Hill, Head to the Hill policy, agenda, advocacy, strategy, education session. It's a long one, but it is very educational. Our teams, advocacy and federal affairs, will be hosting it. We'll give you updates of what's going on the Hill. We'll talk about our policy papers, our policy agenda, and we'll also do a fun skit, I guess, to show you what's a good meeting, what's a bad meeting. After that, we have the general open the opening general session, excuse me. I'm not sure who is speaking yet, but I hear we have some big people in the mix. And then Thursday we have our Hill Day, so definitely get out to see your members, coordinate with your health centers or PCAs, make sure you get to kind of advocate for your health center and for yourself. Let's see, and then Friday we have a general session, federal updates. Again, I don't have all that much information, but that is the general session on Friday. And then on Saturday we have our general session, which we recognize emerging leaders, and so it'd be great to support them as young professionals in the health center world. So those are a couple of the important sessions. I'm going to hand it off to Russell.
Yep. Thanks, Alyssa. So as Liz mentioned at the beginning, we started a, sorry, I had a little bit of a cold. I'm working through it. So we had a little bit of a LinkedIn group that we started fairly recently. We had to go through some, figuring out how to construct it and what's the purpose, and then get it approved by the necessary people in NAC. I'm really happy to say that we launched it a few weeks ago. And first things first is everyone's probably wondering, how do I join? So we do curate and moderate the actual LinkedIn group. So if you do want to join, you can search NAC's CHC Young Professional Group, and you should be able to, it would be one of the first things to pop up. And so what would happen is you would request to join, and then one of the four of us would let you in. So that's first and foremost. Second, who to invite. So once you get into the group, who do you want to invite into the group? So invite your fellow young professional colleagues at your health center. Invite leadership at your health center, especially if they're really passionate about young professionals, because they may have access to trainings and things like that they could definitely promote on the site, on the LinkedIn site. And I think those are two really good places to start. That's what we did. We kind of branched out using our connections already and sent them invites to the group to really start getting the numbers up for that. And overall, the purpose of this group is we actually started this because we heard feedback from, we did a survey a year or two ago of young professionals, and one of the things they wanted was some sort of online collaborative space. And so we thought LinkedIn would be the best opportunity for that. And so that's exactly what it's for. So if you haven't already seen it, if you go onto the LinkedIn page, the group page, you'll see posts about, there's articles. You could also do some blog posting. As long as it's related to young professional and professional development, I think those are really what we're targeting. Also, you can send messages to other people if you're not familiar with how the groups work. And so it could be a really good space, just a collaborative space, but also to connect with people who you may not have the chance to connect with. Because typically we use the NAC conferences as a way to bring everyone together, but not everyone gets to go to the NAC conferences. So it would be a really good place to, really ensure that the dialogue is happening, questions are being asked, but also that information is being shared. There's a lot of information out there on professional and personal development, and, sending it out to everyone, I think, is one really good way to keep us all on the same page and to really help each other out, because, someone from the middle of nowhere, like in a very rural area, in a rural health center, they may not have as many resources, but if there's a national training or there's an online training going on that someone may know about, it would be a great thing to post. They have a place to go to and get that information. So also, like I said, conversations are important. So we want to make sure that we do have this place where people can go and talk to. And we'll be promoting this a lot throughout the conference. We'll also be promoting it, NAC-wide as well, so people know that this group is in existence. And like I said, NAC is very, they support what we've been doing related to the young professionals. Alex, can you just advance the slide? Thanks. Oh, got it. Oh, sorry, too fast. So how can you help us promote YP opportunities? So we do have, like I said, a LinkedIn group. NAC also has a Facebook group as well that you can join, and it's very good about posting things, related to health centers and keeping people educated about what's going on. NAC also has blogs as well that we can promote young professionals young professionals in the health center movement that are really making an impact and a difference. And then also, as you can see, we have wonderful hashtags. So if you're not familiar with Twitter, hashtagging, or at least on Facebook as well, you can do it. CHCYP, that's the name of our hashtag. We used it last year at the CHI. And also NAC PI17, that is the other hashtag. So if you haven't been to one of our conferences, I think we should have it this year. We may or may not, I'm not sure. But we do have like kind of a rolling social media board, an electronic board that is usually by the registration desk. So if you use that, those hashtags, they should be able to get popped up, whatever algorithm they're using. And last year, I think one of the most seen things for me was there's a picture at the start of this, at the start of the slides. That picture was taken right after our first networking session. And so we all got down, we all took that picture, and that was rotating through a lot because a lot of people promoted that. So definitely do this, use those tags, and then also get on that LinkedIn group. We really want to hear your feedback. We want to stay connected with you guys, and this is an easy way to do that. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it with how we can stay connected. And so what we're going to do now is all of you are unmuted. So does anyone have any questions about the tracks or anything like that, the CYP track, anything about getting connected or anything at all? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask away.
And if you guys are having issues, like maybe you're still muted or whatever, you can feel free to put something in the chat box too. I also put the link to the LinkedIn group in the chat box if you want to check it out.
Hi friends, this is Allison. I just wanted to say I feel like I have great understanding of how it's going. I'm really excited. I appreciate all the work you guys are doing to keep us organized and together.
Hi Allison. Thanks Allison. We really appreciate your support, and we really appreciate everybody who's on this call today. I know everyone is super, super busy right now, so it really means a lot to see this great group of folks coming together, and hopefully we'll see all each other at PNI. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a quick question. This is Emily. Could you go back to the slide on the Friday session with Paloma? What exactly was the topic? I didn't catch it.
Yeah, so Bring Your Passion is the title, which we thought would be fun. But really the idea is to share from current health center leaders their sort of career track. So how they went, actually you gave me this idea, Emily, how they went from, you know, starting out in the health center movement and how they got to where they are now. And so what happened at CHI is we had similarly for sort of current health center leaders, and they, you know, they either shared their career track or they shared some of their best learning experiences, or some of the times, you know, they failed miserably and they picked themselves up and they learned so much from it. So they actually had some really funny stories and great anecdotes to share. And then, like Alyssa said, we'll break out into discussions. So those leaders are going to be moderating the discussions about like mentorships and leadership development and skills building, and also just talking about sort of the future of the health centers movement.
Awesome. That sounds really great. And I'll echo Allison. Thank you all so much for doing this. It's really exciting.
Guys. And I see a question here in the chat box about other opportunities outside of PNI. Or ways to share resources. And I think that's a great question, and that's really kind of why we wanted to bring you guys together, because we want to continue to do this track. So our thought is to do this at the 2 major NAT conferences, PNI and CHI, every year. We're hoping LinkedIn is a good place to share resources. I'd love to see sort of articles that you guys are reading about important skills that you're working on building, how to get mentors, how to sort of advocate for yourself in a nonprofit and grow your career in a nonprofit, stuff like that. You know, I'm really eager to see. And I think, and I'll just kind of share this sort of off the record since we're all this big group of friends here, but something we're trying to do is get even more programming for this group. So what I'd like to see is that CHI maybe have a whole day dedicated to this group where we'd kind of do some of the same stuff. We'd do some networking. We'd bring in some leaders to share their experiences. But then we'd probably like work on a project together and sort of do some teamwork and have something that we can present after that day. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that if you guys want to sort of find me or offline, talk to any of us about that kind of idea. Anything else?
Alex, this is Emily again. Has there been any talk about scholarships to help support some of the young professionals to come to the CHI and the P&I in the future?
That's a great question. I always hear some talk about it. There's always requests for it. And I think, you know, we just haven't, I don't think NAC has identified the best mechanism to go about selecting people for scholarships. I think, honestly, that's probably mostly what's lacking. So I would love to see that happen more in the future. So if you guys have ideas about, like, how a system like that could work, maybe let's chat about it, and that could be something else we talk about at the conference, and give me your ideas, and I'm happy to sort of try to take those, put them together, and see what I can do. Obviously, no guarantees, but I think it's important.
Yeah. And just one more thing. So it's probably, and I'm just kind of guessing, but it's probably really important for everybody on this call and all of the young professionals in the community health center movement to really, you know, get on board and support one another and essentially let NAC and our senior leaders know that we're paying attention and that we really care in order to sort of like advocate for ourselves for more funding and more programming. So is that equally as important in terms of like involvement in the LinkedIn group and using the hashtags and things like that to help sort of also advocate for ourselves, or is that not something we really have to worry about?
So are you saying like the more sort of activity we get in these platforms and stuff, the better sort of data we have to give our leadership to get more resources for this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a very astute point, and I would say yes, I think it does matter. I think we definitely try to keep track of the numbers at the track at CHI. We tried to send out a survey, and we got some of those quotes that you guys sent in, which were so helpful. We sent that to our leadership to really push how well received this is and how needed even more programming is. And I think they're getting that message, but I would just say, you know, if this is, you know, something you guys feel as strongly about as we do and passionate about, yeah, please tweet with the hashtag, please get on LinkedIn. If you're coming to the conference, try to come to some sessions as much as you can. And if you have any, like, quotes or anecdotes or anything at all, and you want to send that our way, I'd love to try to create like a warehouse of some of this stuff. There's nothing specific I would say that, you know, I'm using it for, or we're using it for right now, but as we sort of advocate again for something at CHI, which is coming up pretty quickly, yeah, the more stuff we have to show them, the better.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off that, just to give you an idea, so while we were planning all of the P&I sessions last year, we were approached about developing kind of we brought the idea of a track. And so when we started talking about the peer-to-peer speed networking session, I guess it spread through the vines of NAC itself, and then we had Karen De Silva come from HHS, who was she was also a speaker at the P&I last year. And so she came, or CHI, I'm sorry, and she came and she spoke at that session, and also like Tom Van Coverden came by with like the NAC CEO came by, and so I think like there's a lot of movement and support. It's just now we need to like push that, you know, the support into some, you know, tangible things. So I think that's what we're trying to get out of this, and I think that it's a good sign that we do have buy-in, at least at the national level. So yeah.
That's great.
Well, I want to be respectful of people's time because we did say it'd be 30 minutes, so I want to try to keep it to that, but any sort of last minute things? Okay, well, I just want to say thank you so much to all of you. I really appreciate, I have so much respect for all of you guys individually, and I think together we're going to do some really cool stuff and, you know, just keep furthering the health center movement, which we're all super passionate about.
Awesome. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much. Have a great afternoon. Bye.
Bye.